Beautiful humans. Today, I want to walk you through the pretty odd, contrarian, misfit business model that I've created for myself that over the last 12 months has produced $1.3 million dollars in profit, which is about $109,000 a month or just over $25,000 a week. And this is without sales calls of any kind. I've got 2 to 3 team members depending on the month, and I work about 3 hours a day. And in this training, I'm going to walk you through like where the money came from, how I actually made it. I'm going to walk you through where my money was spent, right? The biggest lessons in terms of what has and hasn't been working over the last 12 months. And then more importantly, like what am I doing over the next year to grow that number? And specifically, like this is going to be interesting for anyone, but it is not for like complete business beginners. Like if you're brand new to the space, like welcome. This probably isn't going to be that helpful for you. I'm really like creating this recap for people who are already established making money and they're looking to take their things to the next level. So, how I got here was I was a youth pastor working at a church from 2008 to 2018. And that was what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. But as fate would have it, I came into 2018. My wife and I felt like we were supposed to step into something else. So, long story short, stepped into the online make money space, right? I was like running an agency, social media marketing, and I really bounced around niches and offers for about 9 months. I eventually like killed something, started something brand new, and I niched down to helping coaches get sales calls with webinars. Well, that did really well. This was middle of 2019. We scaled that from 0 to 100K a month in 9 months. And we got hacked, and it was, we lost a bunch of money because someone got into a Facebook profile account and got into client ad accounts and blah, 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 blah. And that really catalyzed me to look at this like model of doing it for people and going, is this what I want to do? We're making good money, but I realized I didn't want to like be in bed with me and a client and Mark Zuckerberg, and like it just felt really messy. And not only that, I really knew that I wanted to create. I wanted to spend time coaching. I wanted to have an uncluttered calendar. And so then that catalyzed me to, in June of 2020, to launch a coaching program. And that did phenomenally well. We did $50,000 cash in its first month. And then I scaled that from, that month from 0 to $347,000 cash month 16 months later. Now, you'd think I'd be living my dream, right? Because it's incredible. I'm a coach now. I'm no longer an agency, but it was far from that. I had a team of 13. I was on Zoom calls all day. It was a freaking nightmare. And I became what I kind of affectionately now refer to as a bro scaler. Like business was first. Like life was second. My health was suffering. I was basically drinking every night, getting drunk really, really often. I was putting on the weight. Like life was miserable. But on the outside, I was getting all the awards and, I bought a nice house and a nice car and I was being featured in like webinars and, I was getting all the virtual high fives is what I'm trying to say. But that really brought me to this point of complete and utter burnout. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it was kind of like a rock bottom moment. Or I think it's like called a rock top moment, right? Where it's like everything on the outside is looking awesome. And so basically I started to unwind this complicated business model. And really over the last few years, I went from a team of 13 down to a team of 1. I went from this really complicated, program and offer down to like this very simple lean offer. And then the last 18 months to 2 years, I've just been refining this system I call the value creator system. And I'm giving you this context because if I just show you numbers, none of it's going to make sense. You have to understand the philosophy and the thinking behind it. See, none of what I do is simply a funnel or a strategy. It is a mental model. It is a way of thinking. So let me walk you through exactly what this looks like from a high level. I just want to introduce this framework to you, and then we're going to get into the big, juicy, exciting numbers. So how I characterize how most people run online businesses when it comes to selling offers, getting clients, scaling to 7 figures and beyond, is they are what I affectionately call bro scalers. And that was the life I was living. And this is what this means, right? You're basically living out of this idea of hustle, that in order to grow, you have to put more effort into the business. The second thing is that you put the business first, right? The business is always coming first, and your life is built around your business to serve your business, right? It's like a never-ending monster that you just have to keep feeding over and over and over. Third thing is that revenue is the most important thing. You're just focused on seeing that number go up. Number 4 is you typically have multiple offers. So it's far from simple. It's far from focused. You've got multiple funnels, multiple offers, and it's at the end of it, it kind of looks like a maze when a prospect comes into your world, like how are they going to go? Where are they going to go? How's it going to look? And it adds a lot of stress to you as the founder. The next piece is that most of these people, and again, these people, I mean how I operated and how you might be operating now, is you're acquisition focused. What that means is you wake up every day thinking about how to get more clients as opposed to focused on the clients that you've got, right? So you spend 80 to 90% of your time just marketing and selling. And the problem with that is you probably got into this job, into this role, into this industry to change lives. And so here you are spending time like writing tweets, recording videos, feeling stressed about where is my next client coming from. The energy of client acquisition is client pursuit. Clients aren't coming to you, you're going to them, whether it's cold DMing, whether it's following up 17 times, whether it's like, calling back 3 times after they missed the sales call, whatever it might be. There is a scarcity and a fear and an energy of client pursuit. The other thing is that you are always open, meaning like people can work with you and join with you at any point. There's no ethical urgency and scarcity, so you typically have to manufacture it, right? 3 spots left. And you will take like clients on Christmas, New Year's Eve, like there's nothing off limits. Sales calls in this model are necessary. And trust me, if that's how it feels for you, I did that model 4 years. I got pretty damn good at it, but man, was it hard. And then the last thing is that ultimately, and I'm not characterizing everyone, but for me, I was stressed and miserable. Like, yes, there were amazing glimmers of hope and there was really cool parts of that business, but ultimately it felt like there was just a complete misalignment. And I've spent the last 2 years kind of going on an eat, pray, love journey, being like, how do I do this in such a way that I make great money, I change lives, and I have fun while I'm doing it? And that kind of birthed what I call the value creator way. And again, this context is to set everything that I'm about to share of what's worked over the last 12 months. But if you only see what I've done and how I've done it and not why I've done it, you only get half the magic. So let's talk about the value creator way. Firstly, instead of hustle, you focus on flow. It is not just about working harder. It is about what is the work that you're most excited to do, saying yes to that, saying no to most other things. The second thing is that we unapologetically have a life first mentality. We do not put our business first. We put our life first in all things. Our business is built around our life. The third thing is like revenue is a vanity metric. Like who cares how much your cash collected is? How much money are you taking home? So as I'm going to break down soon, like while I made 1.3 million, I produced a lot more than that. And I still have expenses to contend with, right? So what I'm trying to say is the profit is the main focal point of the value creator model. Number 4, instead of having multiple offers and a lot of complexity, which should really only be considered at multiple 7 figures, we really just do, and really what I do is one proximity model and one proximity offer with 2 tiers of access. Instead of being acquisition focused, we are retention focused. And I really want you to sit with this for a second. I cannot tell you how the energy shifts in your business and how it shifted for me personally. When I was able to wake up and the number one question burning on my mind almost every day is, how do I serve my clients better? Like the acquisition stuff, once you dial it in, is actually pretty easy. And at times it can feel mostly effortless. The thing that excites me is solving the problems of the people that have paid me to work with me. And it changes the energy of what it means to be a coach, because most of the people that I work with, when they come to me, they're not coaches, they're glorified marketers. And the reality is that many of us got into this space, into this game to change lives, to impact people, to do meaningful work. And then here we are just commenting on other people's LinkedIn posts, hoping that they're eventually going to work with us. I mean, it's a far cry from why we got into this. So having a retention focused business where you're 80% focused on the clients you have, 10 to 20% focused on the clients you don't yet have is a much healthier, much better balance. The next piece is instead of being in client pursuit, you change the way that you're showing up. You change the way that you're showing up online. You actually build a brand, right? You really build authority. And instead of being in client pursuit, you attract clients into your world. And now it's not about can you get clients? It's really filtering to make sure that only the best clients can come on board. And so you're saying no more than you're saying yes. Instead of being always open, we have a mostly closed model. Not people can wave their credit card in my face any day of the week, and that doesn't mean I'm going to take them on board, because I let people in when it is good for my schedule. And that's a completely different shift of authority and of thought leadership than most other people in the industry. But when you can monitor supply and demand like that, when you can kind of pull the lever on and kind of turn it off, it really signals authority in the market, and it absolutely changes the way that you do your business, because you can focus on when you actually onboard clients versus when you are focused on serving the clients you already have. In this model, sales calls are optional. And I tell you, for me personally, I opt to not have them at all. I haven't done a sales call in 2.5 years. I mean, I personally haven't done a sales call in 4 years because we had a sales team. But Since 2 years ago, we haven't had anyone doing any sales calls, and I've sold well over $2 million, maybe three, maybe four. It's a lot. And so that's all without sales calls. And then the last thing is, instead of being stressed and miserable, we operate out of Zen mode. Now, this isn't some glorified, like everything's perfect once you get this thing sorted. But what I'm saying is the energy that you carry changes when you make all of these shifts to something like the value creator way in your business. Now, I know what you're thinking, Dan, how much money did you make? Where did it come from? Like, tell me all the good stuff. That's exactly what I'm getting to now, but I wanted to share that so that you can see that and put that through the lens of everything we're about to look at. So let's go to 2024 value creator income. $7,000 on school affiliate revenue. I don't do anything to earn that other than have a school community, and then people join and then they create their own. And so I got $7,000, which probably helped pay for some steak. So appreciate that. Thank you, Sam and Alex Hormozy. The next line, and by the way, I'm going from smallest to largest. The next line item was $25,000 in consulting calls. Now, I used to sell a lot of these back in the day. This was simply 5 people or maybe 2 people paying for 5 hours of consulting time at $5,000 an hour. So earlier this last year, I raised my rate to $5,000 an hour, both because, I'd been at the $2,500, $3,000 rate for a very long time. And then secondly, I wanted to raise that. And secondly, I just don't really do them that much. And so if someone's willing to pay me $5,000, fantastic, but I don't promote that anywhere. That's just how it shook out for the year. The next one was $41,000 in low ticket products. So this isn't a huge amount by any means, but this does represent a couple of hundred customers, which I'll get to in a moment, why that's such an important part of this puzzle. But truthfully, it just really wasn't a big focus for me in 2024. And so that will continue to be something that I'll refine, but find my own way of doing that. And I'll share more of my plan on that shortly. The next piece is $44,000 in events. So as a part of my main community Inner Circle, we sell guest passes to those events. So Inner Circle members attend for free, and then we charge a few $1,000s for people to come and hang out. And that's not a significant part of revenue. I just send a couple of emails, promote that, and kind of there we are. Now that we're getting out of the kids' paddling pool, we're going to the deep end. The next 2 pieces are the kind of where I made the absolute most amount of money. The first part of that is $521,000 in one-to-one consulting and mentoring. Now, I'm going to share more about this in a moment, but this is why I shared all of this lens. When you set your marketing and your branding and your positioning up in the right way, the most logical thing people want to buy from you is not a program with all the bells and whistles and 10 support coaches and 31 support calls a week. They want more of you. They want to pay for access to you. Like, I just want you to think about how simple that is and how most of us overcomplicate it. If you're watching a video like this, there's going to be a portion of you that feel a deep sense of resonance with my values and who I am. And some people are not going to care. But of those people that are interested, the most logical thing is where's the next video I can watch of Dan's? Or does he have a course? Or does it makes sense for how we all consume and connect with other people? And so why I'm putting this kind of disclaimer and understanding around here is because this number here is kind of really hard to understand. But of the people here, is my little scribble thing working? I don't think it is right now. 1 second. There we go. We're back in action. So what's really crazy to understand about this is the $521,000 here. That is majority of people paying for WhatsApp access to me with no calls. Now, some of these people might have bought 16 weeks to 6 months of WhatsApp access, and they might get 2 30-minute calls in that. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that these people are literally just they're not signing up for a program. They're signing up for one-to-one access to me in WhatsApp. And that's a really crazy thing to get your head around. But that has been a huge revenue driver for me for years. Now, back in the day, it was calls and there was more structure. And now people literally pay me just to have access to my brain and shoot me a question and have me shoot them a voice note with very little structure, very little follow-up, very little prompt. It's just asynchronous kind of mentorship. And I just wanted to point to that because it is really powerful what happens when you start moving towards more of a proximity model and have power proximity positioning, because people simply want to pay for just more access to you, whether it's access to your, exclusive access to your ideas through workshops or in a group environment or a call or WhatsApp. very powerful when you start to dial all this in. And then the last piece here was obviously the biggest driver of revenue, which was group programs. And these are programs that literally take like a couple of hours a week from me every single week. Now, depending on the program and depending on what that looks like, I might spend more some weeks and not on others. But these are very, very leveraged, very scalable offers. And then all up, that led to this beautiful number, $1.8 million cash collected. Now let's go through the expenses. Now, I have created a document that breaks everything we've covered here plus way more down below. And this isn't like a kind of a hook, like come join my email list, you're more than welcome to. But there was just too much on the expenses list for me to break down for the time and making sure I was giving you a good use of your time. And so if you want that, you can check it out below. But here are the headlines. I spent $491,000 and that left a profit of 1.3 million, as I mentioned. And so if you want that, click that below. But basically, 1.8 went to 1.3 something, and I basically spent about $500,000. Now, let's talk about how I did this. Now, how I kind of think about the overall model, this kind of online value creator model that I talk about, is there's 6 elements of this model. It is self-mastery, model and offer, acquisition, delivery, leverage, and finances. For today's video, I just want to recap 3 of them. Now I'm going to go into depth for all of them for the written guide, but I'm just going to touch on 3 of them for the sake of time. We're going to talk about model, we're going to talk about acquisition, and we're going to talk about leverage around what worked, what didn't, and what I'm focused on in the coming year. So I don't even need the little drawery thing for this one. So let me quickly start. I want to jump into the stuff that didn't work, but let me start off with what did work. So I've been building this inner circle community for a couple of years now, and it's just been amazing. Like it's been really good. It continues to be such a good ROI activity. Obviously, there is I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. It's so funny because okay, let me just say this. I did a bunch of stuff well, but let me go straight to the lesson. Hilarious. So I launched a low ticket membership this year, and there were some amazing parts, but there were also some really challenging parts. So coming into this year, my business was ultra simple. Sorry, when I say this year, I mean in 2024. My business was ultra simple. It was one offer with 2 tiers of access, exactly what I preached to you just before. And so literally people were in a circle and people were paying for me for one-to-one access, but it was one offer with 2 tiers of access. And I scaled that up to $170,000 a month, right? Pretty freaking good. And then at the start of 2024, in March, I had a string in a week of people reaching out, asking for help. And they were not the fit for anything that I was doing business-wise. But these were stories that truly, really moved me. These were people earlier on in the journey, people sharing like really heart-wrenching like financial struggles and just overwhelm and don't know where to go. And I remember one particular day, I just broke down crying in front of my desk, like in front of my computer, just going like, I need to create something for these people. And you would think that something that starts with that is probably going to move in the right direction, but that's kind of where it all goes downhill. Like I learned some painful lessons this year, one of which you can't be everything to everyone. And so 10 weeks go by, I have this idea, we're going to do this, but I just can't find a model that would work, that I would feel good about charging money and I wouldn't be stressed at night, not being able to sleep about these people making money online or not, because it was primarily for beginners. And long story short, I went back to my bro scaler ways. We put so much into an offer. It was insane. Like 2 one-to-one coaches with unlimited sessions, 6 support calls a week, like is ridiculous for $300 a month, right? Pretty crazy. And so we had 153 people join in 7 days, which was pretty solid. We've added $45,000 a month in recurring revenue. And then the problem started. It's like every person that was in that community, no, I'm not going to say every person. Let me just say it like this. There was about 20% of people that were absolutely amazing and about 80% of people that were paying us $300, but you thought you would have been convinced they were paying us $3,000 a month, right? Basically, for every person in modern autonomy, the headache was like 10 times the amount of one person in a circle. It was crazy. So while we increased revenue marginally, like I massively increased the stress and complexity. Like, it was crazy. Like we had our first chargebacks. We hadn't had chargebacks in years, refund requests, like all sorts of problems. And so we have that program to this day, I am committed to 100% to the highest level, delivering to the people in there, because honestly, we haven't been selling it that hard. And so the people that are in there are the diehards, values aligned, amazing people. But the big lessons are this. Number one, you can't be everything to everyone. And so you should not let your feelings cause you to complicate your business unless it is an intuitive gut feel, this is 100% the right thing and I'm going to live with the consequences no matter what. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that level of conviction. The second thing was the universe will take any opportunity it can to slap you around the face to remind you on focus. And this was a big thing for me this year, is what happened was I launched this thing. So business went up. This is how it works, right? Modern Autonomy launched, business went up, right? Overall clients way up, money way up. And then what happened was everything balanced out because Modern Autonomy was up here, and then Inner Circle, like, well, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but Modern Autonomy grew and then Inner Circle shrank. So then I was making the same amount of money because me as an entrepreneur, my energy units, my output didn't grow overnight. And so now I was just splitting it between two communities. And I just can't say enough that it is so hard to create one really, really good community where people stay, pay, refer, they get amazing results. So I don't know why any of us convince ourselves that we can do two of these things or three of these things. And so all of this to say, what I'm focused on in 2025 and beyond is one community. I am 100% all in on Inner Circle. And so this is both a warning to any of you that are thinking about starting a low ticket membership. Honestly, I've coached 7 school games winners at this point. It basically makes sense for almost no one. Like, high ticket is so superior, it's ridiculous, unless you have an audience of hundreds of thousands of people, or in some cases, my clients that I coach, millions. You should just go with high ticket because the churn, the acquisition, the headaches that come with low ticket numbers, absolutely insane. Topic for another video. So big lesson, focus. I can't be everything to everyone. And going into this year and going into the next 12 months, I'm really focused in on 100% growing this one community. Let's talk about acquisition, okay? Let's talk about how I get clients, what worked and what didn't. So this is how I get clients. It's very, very simple. And the thing I want to be super clear on is the way that I teach, the way that I mentor other people is I kind of recommend like phased-based scaling. And so if you're at this level and this is your results, like you should focus here. And if you're at this level, you should focus here. And what that means is everything I'm about to show you might not be relevant for the stage you're at. It might be way simpler, but in transparency, I just want to share exactly what I do to get clients. So I have one social channel. This is me. Now, yes, I technically have a Facebook and I sometimes copy and paste stuff over there, but I'm focused on growing one social channel. Now, before this year, I was actually focused on Facebook, and that's where I generated about $8 million cash collected. And then it started to feel like a bit like LinkedIn, to be honest. And I love my crew on Facebook, and it's been an amazing place for me, but I hate LinkedIn. And so if you love LinkedIn, you probably won't love me. But Facebook was starting to kind of go that way. And so I focused in on Instagram. Now, I have a really unique system that I've developed. And it sounds like kind of like a secret sauce hack, but this is just what I do. Is I call it the automated IG funnel. Now that's the marketing name for the fact that most of it runs without me. And so I run like follower style, like a specific like follower and reel and carousel style ads. And then we run ads to those to grow the followers. And then we have many chat CTAs within posts to then send people to next steps through the funnel. And then we have many chat application funnels and waitlist funnels so that when people reach out, if we're closed, they have the waitlist funnel. If we're open, they go through an application. And all of that to say the social channel is the hub. It is the thing that generates leads almost on autopilot, the thing that converts leads, nurtures them, all of that, all through the powers of automation. I'm sharing that because while this is the hub, I couldn't do what I do without YouTube. YouTube has been the game changer for me in my business. I started YouTube at the end of 2022. Let me describe to you what getting clients felt like pre-YouTube for me. I had a Facebook group. We made a ton of money through our Facebook group. And my philosophy was create the smallest amount of content I possibly need so the setters can set and the closers can close and Dan can make money and the clients can get a result. But there was like no effort. And it was really like my content philosophy was like, I am giving the minimal to have a setter generate a conversation. And while I was actually trying to help people, I did not even have enough time and energy based on the overall business model to really invest in content. And so the end of 2022, I really threw that on its head. And I didn't have a funnel for YouTube or anything like that. I just started to create YouTube videos because, to be honest, when I first started in business in 2018, that was like my dream. I was like looking at like Ed Milet and Lewis Howes, and I was like, I just want to create content. That was truly what I wanted to do. And so end of 2022, I finally make that happen. Now, here's the crazy thing. I already knew YouTube was awesome because I consumed a lot of it, but I created content on YouTube and they weren't like awesome, epic videos. It wasn't like nothing was viral, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think on my first day, my first video got 18 views. But what happened was I just kept releasing videos and it started to compound. And then the craziest thing happened about 2 months after I created videos. I had my first client 100% comes from YouTube. What that meant for me was he didn't know who I was outside of YouTube. He wasn't a friend with me on Facebook or on Instagram. He wasn't on the email list. He literally commented on one of the videos and said, I love your videos. How can I work with you? And I was like, how serious is this guy? Well, long story short, he joins the program. And then I would have more and more people go on road trips and binge 6 hours of content. And the shortest sales cycle I had was 18 hours from someone going, I don't know who Dan Moulton is, to I've watched like a bunch of hours of his video. And that guy signed up for a $16,000 program. I'm sharing this to say everything that I've seen, all the results that I've gotten over the last 2 years has shown me long form content is a huge piece of the client acquisition system. Now, I couldn't do what I do with only YouTube, but I also couldn't do what I do without Instagram. With just Instagram. And so combining those two things, short form and long form, I think this is where a lot of people go wrong is I haven't seen anyone get rich from Reels. And I'm not saying through, AdSense or anything like that. And of course, I'm sure there are people who have got a bunch of leads through Reels. What I'm saying is like, I did 2 Reels a day for a long time. Now, granted, they weren't very good, but it really did nothing. Now I can upload a video, I get 1,000 views and I get like inbound leads and like I make money from it, right? It's like I'm paid to make YouTube. So that's really how my funnel works is I post whenever I feel like it on my Instagram. I post whenever I feel like it on my YouTube. And then I simply take those 2 things and I send them via email. Again, nothing in my overall system is regimented. Now, here is the one thing that ties it all together to make it something that where I wake up consistently with inbound leads. And this is what's worked really, really well this year. I'll talk about what I failed in, and then I'll talk about what I'm focused on, but is the mini VSL. And basically what it is it's like a video like this, where you really spend some time intentionally figuring out like what parts of your ethos, who you are, and your pathos, your unique mechanism, do you include in kind of like a video presentation. At the end, you have like a soft call to action to a call or a DM. Now, why this is important is in 2023, I basically only did calls to action on my mini VSL, and I would wake up sometimes to 10, 15, 20 people messaging me like, how can I work with you? And that was literally no ads at the time. It was just people watching the VSL. The mistake I made this year was I just did less YouTube, and I really just didn't even think about the VSL. I was like, that's like 6 months old, I didn't promote it. And honestly, I felt it. Like, while it was an amazing year in business, I felt more friction when it comes to getting clients. And so this year, I'm focused much more on YouTube, but specifically using all of my traffic to push people towards a mini video sales letter of some kind. It's a great filtering mechanism. It's a great way to warm people up from 2 out of 10 in terms of their likelihood of working with you to 7, 8, 9. Powerful tool. Highly recommend it. And that was kind of my biggest lessons from this last year was like, just keep doing more YouTube. Now, the second piece here I want to talk to is where most people make a massive mistake. But again, let me just keep the frame on me. One of the things I learned in client acquisition early was the bigger the leap you're trying to get people to make when it comes to going from cold to sold, the more the friction is going to be there in the point of sale. So what I mean by that is someone follows you on Instagram. If the first message you sent them is buy my thing, right? It's super expensive, come jump on a call. There's so much friction, it's not going to happen. Now, of course, you might not do that, but what you might do is literally like post some reels and then post a story saying buy my thing. Not that much better. And so having a funnel that I've found that is a journey of easy yeses is really the key. So let's talk about this kind of from a free perspective. Someone follows you on Instagram, then you promote a lead magnet, then you promote a YouTube video, then you promote a mini VSL, and then you simply offer them to reach out to get your offer doc, right? That is a journey of easy yeses. At no point did you put this huge onus of this huge decision on them. And of course, the decision and the offer doc is also even easier than on a sales call. And so when you do that at scale, it works super well and people flow through your funnel with ease. The next level to this that I really found is like adding in low ticket products into this. This has worked really well for me. So I made some mistakes with this year. And so I'll talk about that. And I'm going to talk about what I'm going to focus on in the coming 12 months. But obviously we've got people who consume your stuff, right? They're reading what you've written. They're watching what you've recorded. And then typically, obviously, we just try and get those people to buy the thing. And that can work if you have enough amazing content, which most people don't, but that can work theoretically. But one of the things that I've seen work really well is kind of this consumer to customer journey. And so in here we have, I'll just put like low ticket products. And this could be pre-recorded. It could be live. So one of the things that's worked for me this year is like putting modules together and selling a mini course. They could be pre-recorded. They could be like, I'm updating our curriculum. Or it could be in our world, what we teach and do is we run a training for clients that we're already doing for clients, and then we sell guest tickets to that, much like my live event model, right? Works so well, I'm already doing it, I may as well get paid to create rather than create to get paid. And so we have seen this work really, really well, and I have made a ton of money, not just in extra cash, low ticket, because it's not that significant, but really with people ascending. Like I ran one in 2023, I was $500, which is not that low ticket, but it was $500 and 25 people bought it, right? So that's a decent amount of money there. But then 6 or 7 people joined Inner Circle after that. And so when you really position it well, people can ascend really clearly. Now, where I got it wrong this year was I don't like promoting a bunch of stuff. Like I have friends, really good friends, amazing people that I learn a lot from that like promoting stuff every day. And that's just not me, man. Like I don't wake up going like, what can I sell someone something? Like honestly, I just want to focus on Inner Circle. Inner Circle is my community, and I want to create as much content as I possibly can to where it just someone would feel stupid to not at least inquire about working with me if it's somehow being helpful to them. Where I think low ticket workshops are really helpful for people, not from a selfish standpoint, but helpful for people, is they might not be ready to work with me, or they might not be able to afford it, so they can buy one piece of it. But I just don't like spending time promoting stuff that isn't Inner Circle. And so where I really got off track this year was like, I would, how we do it is we do open and closes for our enrollment. And so I would have it closed. So then would be building a wait list for Inner Circle. And then we'd have it open. So they'll be telling everyone Inner Circle's joined. Inner Circle is open to join. But then somewhere in the midst of that month, I would also be trying to like do 5 days of promotion for a low ticket workshop. And then do a few days after for the replay. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. All I'm saying is I'm just going to compress that way smaller to where whenever I'm doing something low ticket, you're literally going to see like a story from me or a couple of slides, an email, and it's literally like you either see it and you buy or you don't, and we move on. But what I'm focused on is really using evergreen email sequences to sell low ticket every day. So when someone opts in for a lead magnet from me, I'm going to have like 45 days of emails curated out and sequence, and then sell my best low ticket products. So the key is really continuing to generate customers, but without having to constantly promote to them. So hopefully that makes sense on the acquisition side. Great year for acquisition. Definitely felt like it was harder than 2023 because I was focused less on long form content and less on my VSL. Basically, I just had a lazier content year, to be honest. And so this year I'm really bringing some more discipline around that because I just feel more inspired than ever too. So let's talk about the last piece here, which is leverage. And I'll quickly just say this, and as we wrap up, one of the key lessons that I've learned this year is that it is almost irrelevant how hard you work. And I'm like dramatically pausing there because I've really thought about this. Like I've been talking about not working very hard for a long time, and I'm going to put a big caveat on that. But like this idea that hard work is the key to success is so incomplete. I want you to really consider for a second that there are literal slaves on the planet, right? I know this is like pretty heavy for like a business video. There's literally people like in cobalt mines, like mining the stuff for our computers that are working extremely hard. The way they get out of their situation is not like to work harder, right? And obviously that's an extreme example, but if you take any like impoverished situation, hard work is not like this mythical, like once you hit 1,000 hours or 1,000 units of effort, you like get some result. It is so much more about what you are working on. And this is such a subtle shift, but I can tell you right now that like the criticisms that I've got over the last few years, because I truly work so few hours in a day. Now, the work I'm doing is very creative. It's very disciplined. I'm not just fluffing around on Facebook, but I truly make like a lot of money working 3 hours a day, sometimes 4 hours a day. And the criticism I get is like, well, that's easy for you to say because you spent all these years working hard, to which like I reply in my mind, because I'm not a dick, is like, yeah, but why are you still working hard after all these years with like, no gain, like no ability to make more and work less? And that's where I really distinguish this idea of creating leverage. And this is a huge obsession of mine, is that like the reason I'm able to produce at such a high level, right? To produce both revenue and results for people without having to work 40 hours a week, let alone 20 hours a week, is because I focus on cultivating leverage. Now, what is leverage? Leverage in this context, for people like us, I just define it simply as like skills, audience, brand, and systems. I'm just going to quickly break this down. I'll talk about what worked for me this year, what didn't, what I'm doing this year. So skills, obviously this is really obvious, but it's an important variable to understand. If we take two people and we ask, Frank Kern to write a sales page, Frank Kern, Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy, maybe you don't know any of these names, but they're the copywriting greats, and a complete newbie who's never written a Facebook post before, we're given the same instruction. The strategy is the same, right? Write a Facebook post. The results are going to be like massively different because of the variable of skill, right? Skill is leverage. The better you get in the areas of your skill deficits, right, where your skills are actually holding you back, the more leverage that you create. And so for me, someone might have to do 10 times as much posting as I do because the skill that I bring to what I do creates so much leverage. Second thing is audience. Now, hopefully this kind of is pretty intuitive. If you have two people with equal engagement and you've got someone with 1,000 person audience and someone with 100 person audience, the goal is 100K a month, the person with 1,000 person audience, all things considered equal, will get there faster. And so you actually do want somewhat of an audience. Now, this is where it comes into the third piece, which is a big audience is not always a better audience. You want brand. What that means is goodwill, reputation. You want people who are actually feeling a deep sense of connection. So if audience is width, brand is depth. And this is how I've made over $10 million cash collected with such a, look at this number for a second. Dude, I am not an influencer, right? I do not have a huge audience, but I've been able to cultivate that because I've really focused on cultivating brand, really care about the people that follow me. And so this is a huge variable in leverage that when you focus on deep contact and deep contribution and generous marketing, it really works in your favor. When you build goodwill with a lot of people, it is hard to fail. And then the fourth thing is systems. And this is the thing that I want to highlight here. So systems, obviously it can be in the form of people, right? Like a person doing a repeatable thing is a system, right? It can be AI, it can be software. This is kind of how I get things done. I have 2 assistants and then I have some contractors that kind of come as and when needed. I have one assistant who is on the business side, who is a ninja. Her name is Maria. She runs the whole thing. She tells me what to do. She follows up with me 17 times to make sure I actually do something. She's amazing. Then I have someone on the personal side and they help with, they're very part-time and they help with travel and house management and things like that. Then I have contractors that kind of guest coach and things like that. And that literally is my whole team, right? Very lean, very simple. But what it does, this team allows me to do what only I can do. So every hour that I'm working, I'm focused only on the highest ROI activities. Now let's look at another simple system that I think you guys might kind of relate to. It's ManyChat, right? Now there's so many things I can talk about for creating leverage, but why this is powerful is this really transformed the way that I got clients this year. I implemented this stuff in August and I was able to get 30 clients in 30 days with an insane ROI in ads. I think I might have spent maybe $5,000 on ads and I got 30 clients at $3,000 to $5,000 each. So it was pretty insane. Now, again, I mentioned before, there's the automated leads part that works really, really well. And that's really where we do reels and carousels and we run ads to get followers. And then we have the waitlist flow. And then I have an application flow. And I had this flow literally converting people. So someone would send me a message. I didn't do anything. ManyChat delivered the whole thing. And then at the end, once they've seen the offer doc, then they go, I'm in. And then my virtual assistant jumps in and say, hey, Maria here from Dan's team, you're in, incredible. And then they pay. And so this was ultimate leverage for me. Now, I think I spent a big part of this year, even in the midst of all the wins, just not focusing enough on like refining the systems. And I think sometimes we can out hustle bad process, right? We can really like not lean into the fact that like we're in control and like probably Chat GPT can help with this problem instead of us like slaving away. And so there was just stupid things I did this year, like tried to get into Instagram carousels. And so like I'm like sitting there 2 hours into a Canva document and trying to like just absolutely wasting time. And so I say all that to say that like every hour I spend in creating a system or training a person, it is worth infinitely more than that hour that I'm spending. And I just think that's a huge lesson for me. And so I just want to give you a quick recap, right? This last 12 months has been amazing. It really comes down to, I cannot stress enough, the tactics change, the strategies evolve, but it is the mental models and the principles that really have allowed me to make, what very few people on the planet are able to make. But not only that, with a massive ease to it. And so if you're like watching this and you're some kind of a coach, consultant, you sell a service, you sell some kind of an offer, you're already making money online, and you would like to learn more about this value creator way, what I do, there's no promises, there's no guarantees. I'm not going to, hold a carrot in front of your face and say, if you pay me this, I'm going to guarantee this. There's none of that. But if you would like mentorship from someone like me and you want to explore what that might look like, I just want to invite you to DM me on Instagram the words inner circle. I can send you all the information. There's no sales call required. Would be lovely to chat to you. Why I share this is because I wish someone had shown me this path earlier. I cannot tell you the pain that I felt in 2020 and 2021 as I was gaining weight and drinking every night and seeing the money in my bank account go up, but the stress go up, the disconnection from my family go up. And sometimes, most often, people like me will sit here and tell you this is the fastest and best way to make money, right? And I think that there's value to that. But I'm here to tell you that like what I'm committed to doing is helping people like you make money in a way that as business gets bigger, your life gets better and not worse. That you become a more healthy, vibrant, excited, passionate human, that you become a better mother, father, dad, brother, all of the rest of it. And I mean that sincerely, like that's my life's mission. And so if you don't just want another business coach or another course and you're actually looking for mentorship, I would love to invite you to get that information from me. You can DM me in a circle. Apart from that, I hope this video has been helpful, intriguing, at least a little bit insightful. We'll see you around. Sending you so much love. Talk soon.